And we are back after just some technical difficulties. We're finally getting into these picks now. With I believe this is LN3 being chosen, so gonna be interesting to see. I do believe this is Neon's pick, but I could be wrong. So currently going in, I mean, Neon with a little bit of an accuracy disadvantage. Ku holding a 99.73, really strong accuracy. I mean, even with this huge lead, I mean, the difference is still so small, which kind of goes to show how much of a difference these maps have when you get into the harder stages. But we'll have to see. I mean, this map has a lot of intrusive mini jacks that could easily mess up these players, and even some burst at times. But as we reach the halfway mark, Ku holding a very strong 99.50. Going down, but Neon Drakon having a little bit of an accuracy disadvantage. I mean, Neon Drakon maybe starting to lose a bit of that physicality, and Ku not having the accuracy, but definitely having the physicality to play these maps at an okay rate. I mean, you definitely see it here. Ku definitely putting a show for Neon. I mean, this match is nowhere near far. It's so close despite these accuracies. And a miss coming from Ku at the very end. Could it go towards Neon? It's so close. It's almost there, but I think Ku might just slightly have the accuracy to keep it up, especially as we get there. Neon getting a miss at the very end. And just as you think it's over, Ku might just get this point, and Ku takes the win! An insanely close match. Just the difference between one miss from each player is all it took. If that doesn't show you how close these matches are, I don't know what does. But we can move on to Ku's next pick now. And we're gonna see Rice 6. An interesting choice that I kind of expected Neon to ban.
This is just gonna be wondrous, I can tell.
But here we go. Oa Ridge in Vegas on 1.05 times. A very tricky map. With a lot of intrusive mini jacks and at times even triplets. This map is definitely easy to miss on. I mean, we'll have to see how this map kind of fares for both players. I mean, this is an easy map to just screw up on, just because of the mini jacks itself. I mean, the rest of this map is fairly on the simpler side. But here we go. Going into Rice 6. A little bit of a kind of mixed technical pick. But we'll have to see if both these players are able to handle it. I'd say this map is a little bit on the easier side, besides from the mini jacks, of course. And you could definitely see that favoring Neon just a little bit. With a 99.96, very strong. Although both players' accuracy is really starting to drop. Very slightly coming from Neon, but things could easily change, especially as we get into the main part of the song. I mean, you already start to see it here. Ku starting to have a little bit of an accuracy lead. We'll have to see how long this can continue for, though. I mean, these scores are so close, it's impossible to tell who's winning. But kind of seeing the physical side of this map, I do think Ku has a very slight advantage on this map, just because of these mini jacks being really fast and requiring just a little bit of physicality just to kind of go in and out of them. And we see a miss from Neon already, very early on, which could be very bad, especially seeing as the very end does have a triplet that's extremely fast. this map does not hold back. I mean, who's destroying this map with a 99.8? I mean, it definitely takes a lot of physicality to be able to kind of hit this map, especially with that accuracy. I mean, very strong lead from Coop, but we'll have to see if this does change. Another miss coming from Leon. It's definitely starting to take over. I mean, the physicality required for all of these maps are really going to start playing an effect for each of these players. And here we go. We have some long jacks, but they aren't as fast. A little bit of a break part for these players. Well, not the biggest break. I mean, you still have to hit these notes, and it can be a little bit hard as well. But both these players seem to be relatively okay. But here we go. We are getting into the hard part of this map. And a miss coming from Koo very early on into the hard part. I mean, both these players are destroying this map, but it's just so tough to just hold full combo on this. I mean, you see all of these mini jacks in that triplet over there. Koo is managing to hit it, but Neon's starting to suffer from it, getting a miss on that. And Koo reaching that 400 combo mark. You start to see the difference in act really showing throughout this map, especially as Neon's Drakon is starting to lose that physicality advantage. I mean, Koo being a very, very strong player. I mean, what can you do in a situation like this?
Okay. That was okay.
I mean, two very strong scores from these players, but you just can't keep up with that physicality at a certain point. I mean, 8 misses versus 1. Very strong scores, though. I mean, even with how kind of tough this map is, I mean, these aren't bad scores at all. I mean, it does take quite a bit of talent to be able to hit these.
This is just gonna be wondrous, I can tell.
But it is now Neon Dragon's pick, and I mean, looking at it, I mean, currently it's down 0-3. And we see Hybrid too. The kind of a streamy hybrid. So it is going to be the future of the taiko drum on 1.1 times. So this map's definitely going to be testing these players a lot. I mean, it is a bit of a faster hybrid too. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hybrid 1 looking for edge ground is also relatively fast, but a map like this is going to be testing your ability to kind of stream with some elements as well. I mean, there are kind of a few mix-ups here and there within this map, but still, its main focus is basically a speedy, fast hybrid map. Here you go, you start to see a miss already from Leon very early on. And both these players are doing really good. I mean, a pretty strong accuracy lead from Koo. I mean, 99.4 is pretty decent on a map like this, especially as elements are pretty much everywhere here. I mean, you see some kind of tight releases, but even then, Neon's starting to slowly catch up with that accuracy, but still with that miss, it's still going to cause a lot of damage. It makes you wonder, would Neon be in the lead if it weren't for that miss? I mean, we'll have to see if Koo does get a miss here, as things will easily shake between the two. But here we go, as we start to slow down, these players get a little bit of a break, and we see Koo getting a miss on the EC part. after hitting all of those very strenuous LNs. I mean, even with that miss though, Neon is still at a little bit of a disadvantage. I mean, it's gonna take a lot more than just that one miss if Neon wants to get this point, especially as Ku starts to reach that 400 combo mark. Things are set in stone. Neon's gonna have to really push it and hope that Ku gets a miss throughout this section. I mean, what else can you do in a part like this where Ellen starts to become really abrasive? I mean, Ku's able to kind of just get through this map with no issue. I mean, not really dropping that much accuracy even despite that miss. And after we reach the end, it looks like it's gonna go towards LSQ. Still a rather dangerous pick though, considering this lead. And as we get there, LSQ is gonna take the win on this pick, bring it to 0-4. Very, very strong lead so far coming from Ku. We'll have to see if Neon's able to make a comeback potentially. I mean, one miss, that's very impressive. I mean, having slightly better ratio than Neon, I mean, it really does make you wonder though, if Neon is able to maybe potentially FC this map, would he be able to beat LSQ? It's a very interesting predicament, but we are getting into LSQ's pick now. You have to wonder, what is LSQ gonna go by? I mean, most likely not any of the LNs, but we see Hybrid 1, a very interesting choice, but I do think in a match like this, it makes so much sense. I mean, Neon is starting to show a lack of physicality for all these maps compared to LSQ. And this pick could very easily go in favor of LSQ. You just have to keep that strong physicality in play. I mean, if LSQ can keep his physicality at play and keep his consistency, he might be able to take this point and leave it to match point. There's no telling what can happen though in a match like this. I mean, both these players are very strong, but physicality wise, you start to see a really huge difference. And a map like this with a lot of really hard jacks, it's gonna become very obvious. But here we go, we are getting into the map. You start to see a lot of these kind of tricky patterns, and you start to see a big wall of doubles, which is going to catch Neon off guard and immediately throw him into the 98 range. LSQ hitting it and holding a very strong 99.5. I mean, a map like this, it's already giving Neon so much trouble. I mean, you start to see Ku starts to drop a little bit of accuracy, but he's still only so strong on a map like this. Neon starting to slow down a little bit and getting into that near 97 range as this actually starts to drop. But as we do get some slight easier parts, he is able to easily build up that combo. And here we go. As we slowly exit this somewhat easier part, we are going to get back into a little bit of other area. Some kind of awkward parts causing another miss from Neon. I mean, Ku's holding an FC throughout this entire map already. It already tells you how strong of a player he is. You start to see some of these anchors giving Ku no trouble at all either. I mean, a lot of players would probably say that they'd miss on an anchor like these, but it's just giving him no trouble at all. I mean, Neon was a near 98.5, a very strong score, but it's not going to be enough as it's almost a percent away. I mean, what can you do when your physicality starts to slow down? I mean, that wall of jumps starts to really affect Neon, kind of getting him a few more misses throughout this transition into this next area. I mean, Ku's still holding very strong throughout. I mean, not a lot to do. I mean, all he has to do is just make sure he can keep playing this map throughout, and he should be able to get this win, especially with that full combo. He does have so much cushioning, even if he gets a miss. And there we go, 2 misses coming from Ku, but it's not going to be enough as he has so much cushioning for even more misses against a 98.5 and a 99.3. This ending is starting to get Ku just a little bit more. You have to wonder if stamina is starting to become a factor. And here you go, we're getting into more of these really abrasive inverse L1s where both players have to be really careful. But Ku starting to miss a lot more now, and Neon starting to be a little bit more consistent throughout this ending. Could there be a lead coming to Neon? It's so hard to tell, but as this map is starting to end, it looks so unlikely for that to happen. But here we go, we do get into this last part, a very awkward part. Neon still holding that full combo, reaching that 2,000 combo mark. Getting a miss right at the end! It's just gonna further push that lead towards Ku with such a strong physicality for this map. Definitely shows you why Ku has made it as far as he has. Four misses. With a 965, a very strong score, all things considered, but this map just being really difficult for both these players. But we are at match point, and it is Neon's pick now. And we see LN4 be chosen. Quite an interesting pick. But here we go, going into LN4. But here we go, we are starting into this potential last pick. I mean, this is such an important pick for Neon. I mean, already down by 5 points. This could very easily be the last pick. But here we go, we do get into this map. So far, the accuracy is fluctuating a little bit between the two. But as we do get into a bit of a more dense section, it does go towards Neon just a little bit. I mean, still flickering between the two. It's very hard to tell who might be taking this point. But once we do get out of this density section, we will start to see who is in the bigger lead. And a miss coming from Ku, it seems, unless that was Client. And it does look like a miss, dropping him to that very, very low 99. I mean, in a map like this, you have to stay consistent. I mean, this is almost 4 minutes long. If Neon's able to FC this, he can easily run away with this point. Consistency is key in a pick like this, especially as every LN pick is so short. This is the only being the longest LN pick, being the only 3+ minute pick as well. I mean, all these other picks are short and sweet, but this pick is going to definitely take a toll on both your stamina and consistency. It's going to require so much coordination and speed just to be able to FC this. I mean, both players are still very strong, even Ku being very strong despite that miss. All you have to do is stay consistent and hope that Neon breaks. I mean, in a map like this, it's so easy to lose your train of thought. It's so easy to get a miss just because of how long it is. Especially how slow it is compared to some of these other maps. I mean, it's not just your standard density map, it has everything. And if you aren't able to handle this song for the amount of length, it's so easy to mess up so easily. Small break, but then you get more into a little bit of density. A potential chance for Neon to get more of a lead, but it also gives a chance for Ku to potentially get a lead, especially as physicality will become more of a factor throughout the ending of this map. We'll have to see if that physicality is enough to break Neon, or if Neon's able to handle it. I mean, 99.4 is still very strong. But here we go. We are slowly reaching the end of this map. We are slowly reaching the difficulty spike of this map. The thing that's gonna pretty much compile what this match becomes. I mean, Neon's so consistent right now. I mean, same with Ku, but that one miss from earlier is just gonna cause so much damage. And here we go. We're right before the drop. A little bit of a build up for these players. Nerves are going to become so apparent. And here we go. We are getting into the faster part of this map. We'll have to see if either of these players drop, or if Neon's going to be able to take this 1 point and potentially bring a comeback. I mean, one miss is all it takes for Ku to get this point. And here we go. Density becomes more apparent here. Both these players are going to have to concentrate so hard. Ku getting 2 misses! Could this be the end of this pick? Could it easily go to Neon holding that 6,000 combo at the very, very end? As density builds up and tension is more apparent than before, we are so close to the end. And as the map comes to a close, Neon gonna take this point. A very, very strong pick coming from Neon. A 984 on a map like this that's so tough and so technical. Just requiring so many different skill sets. I mean, Neon with a pretty strong score with a 971 as well, but it's just going to be unfortunate for Ku as Neon gets this 1 point. But unfortunately for Neon, it is Ku's pick now, and this could easily end the match right here. But here we go. Moving on to Ku's pick. I mean, there's so much for him to pick right now. I mean, there's his Protect, Rice 3, I believe. There's Rice 5, there's Rice 2. And we do see the Protect being chosen, Rice 2. I mean, Rice 3. So a pretty smart choice coming from Ku, especially if he wants to go for that win. I mean, a map that he's confident in is probably your best bet when you're 1 point away. But things could easily change as well if Ku gets to kind of about it. But we'll have to see. I mean, this could switch to Neon if Ku isn't careful enough. But here we go. Moving on to this kind of jump stream entry map. But let's see, can Neon make a comeback? Can Neon get 2 points in a row and potentially make another point? I mean, if Neon can start getting points, who knows what can happen in a match like this. But we'll have to see, especially as the physicality ramps up a lot more in a pick like this. I mean, even if Ku does lose this, he still has a lot of cushioning to lose a few maps. And even if he starts to lose all of them, I mean, there's still the tiebreaker, which is very physical. So Ku definitely has a lot going for him, especially with this lead. I mean, so far Neon's starting to take a little bit of a lead. And this potentially could start to shift to the other way. Both these players' accuracy are so close. It's so hard to tell who's going to win this one. Especially as we do get into this part where rhythms start to change. Could this pattern change and rhythm change mess up one of them? Who knows? As we get into jump shows, transitioning into fast streams, then back into more awkward patterns. I mean, it's definitely taking a toll on Neon's accuracy. But we'll have to see if Ku messes up, gets a potential miss. I mean, especially with these kind of intensive pattern changes, it's very easy to just miss on here. And we see a miss coming from Ku. Neon gonna start to take a slight lead. Neon's gonna have to stay consistent. But as we are halfway through this map, both these players getting a slight break, but it's immediately gonna start to change. Neon's gonna have to stay consistent if he wants to get this point. I mean, the accuracies are so close. I mean, even with that miss, Ku still has a very strong accuracy. And here we go, let's see if any of these players miss here. A very tricky transitioning part, but both players are staying somewhat consistent throughout. I mean, Neon's accuracy is starting to fluctuate a little bit up and down, but we'll have to see. A miss coming from Neon. Is it going to go to Ku? Especially with that accuracy lead. It's so close right now. It's so hard to tell who's going to win this one as combo starts to rise. It's so close. Ku might be able to take this one as we get closer to the lead. Still in Neon's favor. Reaching the end. Neon reaching that 400 combo mark, but I think it's going to go towards Neon. As long as we don't see another miss, then it might just go towards Neon still. And the point going towards Neon, bringing him to 2 points. I mean, that ratio difference is still noticeable, but still, it's so close. I mean, three less crits, but 100. Definitely scary territory. I mean, just 0.03 difference. That is such a scary score coming from both players. But can Neon make a comeback? I mean, it is Neon's pick. I mean, we could see LN1, LN2, maybe even SB1. I expect Neon to want to avoid all these Rice maps. But maybe Neon's starting to feel a bit better and goes for Rice 2. But we see Rice 5 being chosen. A very strange pick in my opinion. But Rice 5 is going to be coming back. A very interesting pick coming from Neon, but it is a bit on the longer side, so this could play in his favor. This very well could play in his favor. Here we go. We are moving on. But here we go. Ku getting a very early miss. So Neon having a bit of a slight lead. But we'll have to see. A miss coming from Neon. Accuracy is going to start to show. If Ku can stay consistent and potentially bring that accuracy up, he might be able to end this match right here. But if Neon can stay consistent, but another miss, it's definitely going to cause a lot of damage as Ku's accuracy starts to dwindle down a little bit. Definitely not a strong pick coming from Neon. I mean, despite all of this, Ku does have a bit of a comfortable lead. I mean, he definitely can get a miss if needed. Yeah, so you do get into a bit of a calmer section, which just kind of bursts in and out here. It definitely gives both players a chance to build up that accuracy. I mean, Ku's starting to build up to that 99.4, And Neon with a 99.3 definitely does show that they're able to build that accuracy up within these easier sections, but we'll have to see if either player drops a lot, especially with this final part coming. Both players missing at almost the same time. Ooh, it looks like Ku's a lot worse though. This could potentially go towards Neon. As we're reaching the end, we have to see who's gonna prevail. Neon getting another miss, it might just be over for him. Ku might be able to get this final point. As we are closing to the end, as we are reaching the 900 mark, it's still a lot more beneficial for Ku, but as we are into this kind of almost ending part, it looks like Ku might just take the point unless we see something detrimental happen. And Ku will be taking this point and will be moving on into the second round of the finals losers match. And Neon is unfortunately going to be knocked out of the tournament. That was Ku taking that final point needed. And with that, that concludes the first match in the finals losers bracket. But with that, we still have another match coming very soon. It is going to be Mini Egg versus Berjetka. And with that will become Mini Egg versus the winner of that versus LSQ. So stay tuned for that one. But for now, I'm your streamer and commentator Snow, and I'll be seeing you.